Hi, everyone, and welcome to Hot Off the Mess. I'm your host, Samantha Bush, and I'm joined by a long-awaited guest. I've been wanting him on the podcast for a really long time. I'm obsessed with him, obsessed with his takes, obsessed with his Twitter, his Instagram, his overall energy and vibe. Gibson Johns is here, the host of We Should Talk. Hi.
Thank you for having me, Sam. This is a long-awaited moment.
This is a pleasure.
The feeling is so mutual.
I'm so excited. And what a good week to have you on.
We got lucky.
I mean, think of it if it was like last year, Vanderpump.
It would have been crickets. We would have talked about it for 5 minutes, then
I would have hung up and said, "See ya."
Exactly. Bye.
Yeah.
Good
Bye.
luck next time. Yeah. Better luck next time.
Joining us. Oh my God. So I just kind of want to take your temperature, see what you're feeling, get the listeners maybe some insight into like your perspective on things before we really dive in.
Yeah.
So who is like your favorite current housewife?
My favorite current housewife? Probably either Karen or Garcelle.
Yeah.
Or I'm trying to think if there's one in Miami Miami is just the full cast. So it's
I was gonna say Miami is just,
it's hard to pick a favorite in Miami for me.
And it changes every episode.
Yeah, exactly. Especially on this reunion, I feel like what I thought all season for myself is being threatened by how they're all acting.
They're all acting insane.
Insane.
We'll get to it a little bit later, but like you said, the whole of Miami is just my favorite housewife. They're incredible. I love what Peacock is doing. Are you enjoying Peacock's?
I love the sort of heightened. It's like a little bit more pristine. It's obviously higher production value. And I think that they are like giving them space to be both old school and new school in the way that they're presenting it, and it's just like working extremely well. And I think it sort of took some of the things that worked on that first season of Girls Trip 2, and sort of I think some of the things that us fans sort of latched onto, and it injected them into a Housewives franchise, it's just heaven.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you are like one of the only sane people on Twitter.
A badge of honor.
Like you give your takes, you definitely have your point of view and you have your opinions, and I like that you share all of that. But like you also are like very still like grounded on this planet and understand nuance, and like, you're not like nasty.
Isn't the bar like on the ground though?
The bar is in hell, Gibson.
Yeah.
It's in hell. I don't know if you do this, because I certainly do. I just tweet and just throw it out into the universe, and I don't think about anything that happens afterwards.
Yeah, I like sort of a little at a certain point there, probably like a year and a half ago. Like it's one of the dark times of the pandemic, and like that was when I was sort of leaning into Twitter.
Same.
I had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
But there was a point there where like my following had reached a certain level where, but I had not mentally caught up to like what that entails and what that brings you. And I was like struggling there, and I was like, how do I, because I like sharing my opinions. I like engaging in the conversation, and I like, and I interview these people too. So I like to put it all out there, but like, I don't think that we're as humans like made to just receive unsolicited negative feedback from people, like that's based in
about
in nothing.
ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, I said I liked Melissa Gorga, and now I'm like a monster.
Now you want Teresa dead.
Exactly. Like that's sort of that's what we deal with on there. And like, so my notifications are like I don't see a lot. I
refuse to look.
Yeah, I don't look. And I the first person I heard say this, you're gonna laugh, is Khloe Kardashian, but she said post and ghost. Like that's what she does, and that's what I do. I post and ghost, and if a reply pops up that's like, again, based in some sort of like actual point of view and reality, then maybe I'll engage with it. But like I also think that for us too, we have our faces attached to all of our profiles and our names. And that's not a shot at anybody who doesn't do that. I totally understand people who don't want to put their faces and names out there, but still engage. Like I love so many fan accounts.
Totally.
It just makes the nature of like what we say,
it's a little different.
It's a little different. And like, and when you take a shot at at me, it feels more personal. And
Mhm.
yeah, like and
No, I know.
somebody took a shot at me this week, and I just
Yeah, and you're like, "What the
I'm
fuck?"
disengaging from that. I think that's
Yeah.
such bullshit. So yeah, that's sort of where I am with Twitter, and I do try to, because I do interview them, so I I do think about before I send something out there, like, if this happens to get back to the person that it's about, like,
Mhm.
could I
Could this look
would I have a problem defending that, or like
right.
having that conversation with that person themselves? Because even if they're not all tweeting, like, they're being sent things, they're scrolling the
Oh,
hashtag, like,
yeah.
so that's something I try to take into consideration. Sometimes I
Mhm.
forget. And then, yeah, I
It's
also
easy to
don't try to be
forget.
too negative. Like, there's so many other people that are way better at being snarky than I am, and, like,
If
that's just
you
not what I
yeah,
excel at, you know what I mean? And, like, I
yeah.
love the snark, it's not for me
Like,
to
you're
first put it out there.
liking the snark tweets, but you yourself aren't, like, putting all of that out
Totally,
there.
totally, and,
Yeah,
like, the snark comes with the territory, and, like, it
totally. It's
should be there.
Housewives. Yeah.
Exactly, but I don't think that I am built for that, and, like, what comes back at you when you put it out
Yeah.
there,
Well, because
you know?
I also, like you, I kind of started diving more into Twitter during the pandy, and I've always had my name on my Twitter, I've always had my face, like, I didn't think about it, I never thought that my Twitter would grow, like, or anything, I just was tweeting. So then, like you said, you don't mentally catch up to where it's at, where your, like,
Exactly.
account is at, and you're like, "Oh, like, this is, like, now in page 6," or, like, "This is now
Exactly.
a
Yep.
tweet on the Daily Mail." I'm like, "Oh, like, that's my face, like, that's me, what?" It's very weird, it's a weird life we're living, but it's also really great because it has given us so many opportunities.
100%.
Who has
100%, like, I
been
don't
your
regret it.
favorite person to interview, like, your favorite housewife? Or, like, any Bravo celebrity, really?
Um, it's, I think the ones that I've been able to, like, to interview almost every season of their
Mhm,
show, and the ones that have been around, those are the ones that, like, are the most rewarding to me, because, like, they engage with me, like, before you start recording, and after you stop
mhm,
recording, and, like, when might see them at, like, an event, or, like, BravoCon, or
mhm.
some party or
You
whatever,
have, like,
like,
a little bit of a
yeah,
relationship.
and it's not about that for me, but I think that because that is established, like, they're willing to, like, be a little bit more candid with me, or, like, they, like, trust me more.
Mhm.
So a lot of the Jersey women are like that. Like, I have fun talking to them because it feels a little bit more
Yes.
intimate.
The Jersey
Um,
women are very open.
Very,
Yeah.
and, like, I think that there's I said this recently to somebody, but it's like, they obviously still have, like, the sort of, they can have sort of the glam factor, the sort of, like, aspirational nature, but, like, ultimately, to me, like, on Jersey, I like the fact that that's not always apparent, and so they're a little bit
Mhm.
more attainable, they're a little bit more, like, not on our level, but, like, closer to our level, I'd
Yeah.
say, and
Like,
I
they
think that
kind of
that
remind
makes
you of,
it.
like, a glamorous friend's mom.
Exactly, exactly. It's like they
Like
still, like, they might be in, like, athleisure, but it's, like, still chic athleisure, or, like, it's, like,
yeah, it's
or, like,
still
what
a
they do is
matching
chic.
set.
Yeah, exactly. It's still a
Yeah.
matching set. It might be loud colors, but, like,
Mhm.
it's matching.
It's
Um,
always gonna be colorful on
yeah,
Jersey.
exactly. So definitely the Jersey women. I love the Summer House people. I think that, like, again, it's one of those things where, when I started doing this,
Mhm.
that show was first starting. So,
Oh,
season 1 of
good.
Summer House, nobody gave a fuck about that
No
show.
one gave a fuck.
And I gave a fuck because I wanted to interview people and get the practice. I liked
Yeah.
Bobo, and I was like, like, and, like, back then, like, I was doing, like, share house in the Hamptons, like, not nice ones, but, like, I was
You were living that
saying,
life.
yeah, and so, like, it felt a little bit like, attainable to me. So I like them because, again, like, they will tell me, they will, like, I don't know, like,
They're
they
not as,
trust me
like,
in a different
media
way.
trained or something. Like, they
No, no,
really just say
no,
things.
and it's funny because, like, even though I think, one of the conversations right now happening around Summer House is like,
Mhm.
"Oh, like, they're all pushing 40, and, like, they're all, like, aging out," and, like, I totally, like, get that, but, like, also, they're like the Vanderpump people, and that, like, most of their the way that the way that they behave is not gonna reflect their increasing age. Like, they're still gonna
No.
act young, and, like, they still know that, like, their show always has to have this, like, youthful party vibe, and, like,
Mhm.
I'm in that phase of my life as well, so I'm here for that.
Yeah, like, I turned 30 this year, and I
Me
was
too,
just like,
last year.
"Oh, happy birthday," last year.
Yeah, thank you.
um, is like, I really thought about it. I really sat down and I was like, "Am I supposed to feel like an adult? Like, what am I supposed to feel like right now?"
I
Like,
know.
I'm still, like, going to, like, a boozy brunch occasionally, like, I'm still especially if you're I mean, I'm not in New York City, but I feel like if you're in that kind of world or in LA, like, that is way more common than if you're in, like, Minnesota.
Right. Oh, well,
You
yeah, I
know,
mean,
people
like,
aren't
yeah.
settling down as
No,
young.
and I don't wanna settle down yet. Like,
Right. You're
I'm not
not
interested in that.
ready.
I'd like to have I like the fact that parts of my life are a little bit more, quote, unquote, "grown up" or, like, put together,
Mhm.
but ultimately, like, I'm still going out on the weekends,
Yeah.
and so, anyway, I think that that's sort of the through line for me in terms of who I like to come back to, because
Mhm.
it's not that hard to put that extra effort into, like, people who they might be talking to every season. Like, I don't know why they
Mhm.
wouldn't do that, but they don't
Mhm.
all do that. So,
Yeah. Now, let's talk Jersey.
yeah.
Okay. What what is your take on I mean, where to begin?
I know.
What is your take on the whole Frank and Dolores situation? Because I gotta tell you, he had me in the first half. And then
He
when
had
Dolores
you
kinda started opening
right.
up about, like, why she's ready to kind of set that boundary, I was like, "Okay,
Yeah. I get
you're
it.
right."
I get it. Like, I love Frank, and I'm not on, like, the hate train of, like, why is he still around, or, like, why
I'm
is it,
not
like,
either. Any
whatever.
of the Jersey
I
guys,
think
I get why they're there.
yeah, exactly. No, and I literally interviewed her my interview with her came out today, and I asked her about that, and I was just like, I don't know, I think that I almost think that he was making it was sort of like a selfish, like, he wasn't considering her point of view of, like, they've been divorced for however long, but their relationship literally did not change except for the fact that they weren't having sex. Like, that's
Mhm.
literally they lived in the same house, like, they were co-parenting these 2 kids.
Mhm.
He was, like, brothers with her boyfriend that she never even saw. Like, he probably
Yeah.
saw David more than she
He
did, and,
lived
like,
with David.
literally, and, like, I understand that she wants to move on, and I think that Dolores as the years have gone on, I think that Dolores has sort of, like, owned her almost, like, sexuality and, like, her, like,
Mhm.
independentness as a woman even more. Like, she's always been, like, a very strong-willed person, but I think that as her platform has grown and as, like, her time on Housewives has extended, I think I've noticed that she's kind of owning her life a little bit more, and I'm obviously all for that, and
Yeah.
I don't think that she's, like, the implication is not that, like, she's gonna be done with Frank or, like, whatever, but why does their dynamic have to change? Also, I mean, why can't it change? And
Right.
also their kids are in their 20s now. Like, it's not gonna be
Their
the
kids are
same.
full-blown adults,
Right.
and Frank, you don't need to just be walking into Dolores's house, he also has a girlfriend, and
That's another element of it that I was confused by.
I'm very confused. If I was her, I wouldn't love that. I wouldn't love that my boyfriend is, like, getting teary-eyed that he can't spend time with his ex-wife. I would be like, "Can you fucking not?"
There's something about, like, a straight man longing for the good old days, like,
Yeah.
even if it's, like, as sort of innocent as just, like, wanting his family to be as they are, like, there's
Mhm.
something about that I just, like, reject, you
Yeah.
know? And I just it's not I'm like, "Dude, like, get over it, the times are changing." You know what I
Well,
mean?
also, it's like, Frank,
Yeah.
you were cheating on her. She claims that it was like a volatile relationship at times. Like, it wasn't this like white picket fence,
No.
Like, it was a very intense relationship for such a long time that Dolores really held the family together. And now that her kids are grown up, like, she has every right to be like, I'm going to go spend time with my boyfriend. And
Mhm.
I like that Polly is kind of forcing her to set that boundary, and he's like, "No, no, no."
100%.
It's almost like Luke with Ashley and Michael Darby, like, how he was like, "No, this is actually a really weird situation you have going on, like, this isn't normal or healthy," except for, like,
She
Ashley's
needed
kids
fresh
are
eyes.
babies. Yeah, she needed
She needed
someone to
fresh
come
eyes in the
in.
situation. Yep.
Yes, and
And not even
Polly,
just
I
fresh
mean
eyes on that, but he's never even seen Housewives. He didn't even, like, know what Housewives was apparently. So,
yeah,
like, he's, like, totally not in it for that. And, yeah, no, I
Gibson.
that's a good comparison.
His accent, I can't make heads or tails. I don't know what the fuck
No,
he's saying.
it boggles my
It's
mind.
so crazy.
It
It's
kinda
like the
goes in and out a
reach.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like
K
Jersey, and then it's really Irish, and then there's, like, subtitles. I'm like, "I don't know what's going on here." It just like, he's such a
Oh.
character, and he's just like an Irish version of Frank to me.
Literally.
Like, he's still red, he's huge, like, he's such a Frank type of person, like, she
When they
clearly has
had
a
him in,
type.
like when they had him in that, like, Party City Irish, like,
Irish
bartender thing for the
vest.
calendar. Yeah, whatever that fucking thing was. I was,
I
like,
was
losing it.
screaming. I was loving it, and then the kick that they got out of putting, Frank in that bunny outfit with the tail, like, it was really getting me good.
Yeah,
I was
that was
laughing
fun.
so
I,
hard.
like, almost ordered it. I kinda wish the
I
episode I
kinda
wish the
wish I
calendar was
did.
for 2024 because I'm like, we're already, like, 3 months into
I know.
2023. Like, am I gonna order this calendar? I don't know, but
I know, and we're
yeah.
almost in April, so, Frank's page will be flipped, will be turned soon. So, it's
Yeah,
like, what's the point? Because
and
I
I
don't wanna
think that
see Louis
oh, I don't
in the
please,
cow.
I don't wanna hang that in my in
Ooh.
my apartment.
What
Next
are your thoughts
question.
on Louis? I value your
I
opinion, so
thought
I'm curious.
yes, I thought that
Okay.
Gia saying to the producer that the
Mhm.
last time it was normal between our families was before Louis. Those are her words.
Mhm.
And then she says, "But I don't know what changed." And it's like,
You just
didn't you
said.
just answer your own question? And I I up until, like, a couple weeks ago, honestly, I was like I, like, was fully on the Louis train. I was inside that love bubble with them. Like, I was
Mhm.
like, "You know what?" Like, he seems like he's kind of like an off dude, but, like, she's really happy, he's good for
Mhm.
her. He has his whole family, like, they have a nice all this stuff.
I was in the same boat,
And then
yeah.
he went on Watch What Happens Live, and he told us that his new company was
No.
lead generation, and he was so, avoidant about it, and I was just like and I saw her sort of also sort of step
Like,
in to, like, try to explain and,
yeah.
like, shush it away. Something about that, like, raised so many antennas on my
I
body, and I
know.
was just like, "I don't know." And then Gia saying that, and I was like, "Maybe he is the one driving the wedge, and there is an agenda at play." That's sort of my
Yeah.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but that's sort of that's sort of I'm on
That's
board with
kind of
that.
yeah, I'm gonna be keeping a closer eye on it now because
Yes.
like you said, in the beginning of the season, I was like, "You know what? They seem so happy." He's got sisters, his parents come over, his mom's a therapist, like, Teresa's apparently in therapy, what let's just let her be happy. And then, like you said, they go to Watch What Happens Live, and Andy, I feel, is so protective of her. And because, like, when she brought up, I'm not gonna sign a prenup, he was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? You absolutely need one because let's all remember what you just went through." And then when Louis couldn't if I feel if you can't give a straight answer of what your job is, something is wrong.
100%. I'm with you.
So, and I mean, I've said it on this podcast before, like, if I'm talking to, like, an older person and I try to explain what I do, like, I'm a podcaster and I talk about reality television, they look at me like I'm a fucking idiot,
Of
but,
course,
like,
but it
they're
still
not
makes
worried I'm,
sense.
like, committing, like, fraud.
Right.
Like, they're not
Right.
concerned I'm going to jail, you
Right.
know? So
I don't have like, when somebody tells me, like, for example, they work in finance, like, and they try to, like,
uh
explain, like, which part of finance, I'm like, "Dude, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about,
no, I know.
but it, like, sounds legit." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, when he brought up what he was doing, I was like, first of all, the term lead generation, we know it, we
We're
associate it with
triggered.
a
Yeah.
criminal, and he couldn't explain it, and he was like, "It's media." But what kind of media? Is like advertising? No, he was, like, weirdly
Weird,
every
and
pulled out of him.
she was, like, totally trying to, like, make it better and smooth it over. That was really strange, and I'll never
Yeah,
forget it because 'cause I've
never.
got my eyes on Louis for sure, and
Yeah.
Louis Jr. Him and Melania pose very close together, and I'm just
Oh,
gonna throw that out there.
okay. Listen,
Not accusing anyone of anything, but the body language, I don't know about that.
I'm gonna be searching Instagram after this,
Yeah,
thank you.
it's interesting. Anyway, Jen and Bill.
Yes.
I got in a lot of shit on Twitter the other day because I compared Jen and Bill to Shannon and David. And the only reason I'm saying this is because David and Bill both had affairs. Shannon and Jen both want to make it work with their family. They both wanted to make it work with their families. And they seem so checked out. When Jen was sitting there saying, like, I look at the cameras and see your car is home and I don't even know you're home. You go right to the pool house. You don't come in till after we eat dinner. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? That is crazy. That is so nuts to me. And people were defending it like, oh, well, Jen's nuts. Like excuse me, sorry. She just wants someone to like agree with her all the time. And I'm like, no. Like she just wants to know when her husband's home.
Or he's home and he's not even coming to say hi.
To the
It's one thing.
kids.
It's one thing if somebody comes home, has more work to do, checks
Mhm.
in, hugs the wife, kisses the kids, and then
Yeah.
goes back to the pool house and whatever, his man cave or whatever it is.
Mhm.
But what's interesting with Bill for me is like he was so different the first season. He was like not into the idea of the show. He was so
Mhm.
reserved. He didn't like her. Like I feel like he like, didn't even like her like really like drinking or getting drunk on camera. And like
Yeah.
honestly, as a couple, they have sort of every single season they've gotten a little bit more like loose, and like he obviously gets wasted on camera now at least once a
Mhm.
season, and like he his approach to the show has changed, but he
Mhm.
still has this like really intense guard up. And in that
Mhm.
moment where she brings up that he shows up to the house and she sees him on the ring camera and that's the only way she sees him, he didn't
Yeah.
even really defend it. He like didn't really defend himself either. You know
He
what I mean?
also
Like he
didn't
didn't.
argue it.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like
Yeah.
there's like a lack of like emotional reaction, and you don't have to be an
Mhm.
emotional person, but like that's a slippery slope to not defend your kind of contributions to the relationship.
And to not even be like, "You're right, like, I shouldn't be
Yeah,
doing that. I should be making an
right.
effort." Instead, he just sits there silently, and that's always kind of been their problem. Even last year's reunion, she was like, "Will you say something? Like,
Mhm.
defend me. Like, say, I mean, you know who you would never catch acting like this? I'm just gonna throw it out here. Chris Larita. He would never. He blindly defended his wife when she was acting like a fucking
For
maniac.
years.
But then
Yep.
behind closed doors was like, "Babe, that was kinda nuts. Like,
Mm.
you were going insane. You can't act like that." But with Bill, it's like this weird, like he just is completely
He's, like,
shut
apathetic.
off.
Yeah, he's, like,
Yeah, like
apathetic to the
it's
whole thing.
he kind
Yeah.
of doesn't care, and that's probably really frustrating, and I wish that he gave her a little bit more grace with the idea that, like, she did just move on after the affair. I think in their culture, like, it's a huge and she kinda talked about it last season, there's so much shame around it to the
Mhm.
woman because it's like, "Well, what did you do that caused your husband to do
To be
this?"
unhappy and to push him
And
away,
now it's
right.
like, "You're pregnant." She was pregnant,
Mm.
like and I can't imagine that, and then they had another baby after that, like, they had little baby Olivia, who I'm obsessed with.
Our
Our
queen Olivia,
queen. I'm obsessed with
literally. Like, I
Olivia.
worship the ground she walks on, like, she's
I
beyond. Scene
I think
stealer.
she's a star. A
A star.
star, and not in the way Melania was when she was little. Because when Melania was a little kid, I was, like, terrified of her. She was like
It was,
this
like, more
tiny little
unhinged, right?
more
Exactly.
unhinged, like, more
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
little Olivia is, like, so cute and fun and, like, silly and,
she's
like,
so sweet.
really sweet, and, so I just feel like and Jen and Bill's story isn't unfamiliar on Housewives, I don't think. Like,
Mhm.
she comes in, she's very traditional, she has this very traditional marriage, traditional life, and I think she is getting a lot of independence from the show, similar to Dolores, and is now kind of like, "I am your equal." Like, even without
Treat
the
me like it.
show, treat me like that. Like, the thing I love I've been deep in a rewatch of Orange County for, like, months now. Heather and Terry had a really good balance with that, like, she was the, quote, "stay-at-home mom," and he was the doctor, but he always still, like, respected Heather. He
Totally.
still respected everything that she did and held the family together, and it's like Bill just doesn't he does not
Mhm.
respect her.
I think it's this thing that one of my biggest frustrations about Jersey as a franchise is that there's always been this old school mentality of
Mhm.
of the gender roles in a relationship, and like being we've seen people say people are responsible for their husband's actions, or
Mhm.
yada yada yada. Like it's reared its head like a lot of times over the years,
Mhm.
and I
Even
think that this
Melissa
is
and Joe back
even
in the
Melissa and Joe,
day.
exactly, yeah. And I think like that's just so not the culture that I know or want to like
It's
be
not
a
a
part
culture I
of.
wanna know. Yeah.
No, it's not. And like it's almost like they have to play catch up to
Mhm.
addressing that, because otherwise, like, she's going to continue to gain this momentum and this power. And if he doesn't take that seriously, or if he's always going to view, her success as sort of like superfluous and like not as serious as his, then like that's not beneficial for them. And it scares me, because I ultimately, like, he can be fun. Like, there are good sides
There's
to
a
him. I
likable
just like
quality about him.
100%, especially
Mhm.
when he's drunk. But
Yeah, because even him at times, he's, like, stood up to Joe Gorga, who was maybe being a little misogynistic. Like, even
mhm,
Bill kind of, like, said, "Okay, well,
totally.
no, like, my wife doesn't have to do this," or whatever. I feel like Joe made a comment about, like, how often does, like, your wife, like, sleep with you or something like that. But what I want from Jennifer is for her to be a little bit more vulnerable when it comes to being with Margaret. I feel like Margaret really wants Jennifer to be more honest about her marriage and all of that with the group.
Mhm.
Because everything Margaret has said about Jennifer, like, has been true. Like, your husband sleeps in the pool house, your husband had an affair. It's like, but you're walking around saying, "I have a perfect life," and you don't. No one
Right.
does.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, Margaret's
So
not a liar. Yeah.
yeah, Margaret's not gonna lie about anything.
She'll sort of weaponize a piece of information, but
Yeah.
she's not gonna make it up. You know what I mean?
Right. It's like a
Yeah.
Tamra Judge, like, she's not
Yeah,
making
I
it
see
up,
that.
she's just
Mhm.
she's just being a
She's bringing it
messenger.
up.
Yeah,
Exactly,
she's a
exactly.
messenger of truth. Um
Yeah, but I think with Jennifer, I also, as she gets more of this power and like more like self-assured, and
Mhm,
breaks out of that traditional mold, I think that because she has such like a fiery nature to her, and that's so natural to her,
mhm,
it's almost similar to like Candace on Potomac, where like she has to sort of learn to control that and to like
mhm.
use it at the right time.
Use her
And she
powers for good.
yeah, not even just, yeah, for good, but also like when your reactions are so over the top like every single time,
Mhm.
it's hard, I think, for the other women to like take it all seriously a lot of the time.
Yeah,
And I
that's
think that like
true.
something that Candace was able to do, like, on her journey on Housewives, is like she went from like sort of being the same way of just like throwing the first like most
Throwing
intense,
knives.
literally throwing butter knives, but also like some of like the meanest like insults that she probably could think of.
Yeah.
And now she still can do that sometimes, but she does it a lot less, and it's a lot more controlled. And I think that Jennifer can learn from that arc as well.
That's a really great point. Like, a
It
really
just
good
came to
connecting
me.
of the dots. Wow. Oh my
Hmm.
god, you're so smart. Um, how do you feel about the newbie girls, Danielle and Rachel?
I like all three of them for
Oh,
different
and
reasons.
Jennifer Fessler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like all three of them for different reasons. I think Jen Fessler is a great friend. I think that I
Mhm,
like her dry humor. I think that she's had a couple moments that like are clearly trying a little bit too hard, but like
mhm,
ultimately I like the effort,
mhm.
and I
I
like
like
that
when
she
we have friends of under
yes,
E.
and yeah, same. And I like that she checked Margaret. I like that she's not like a yes person.
Mhm.
She's telling Margaret like, don't act this way, whatever.
Yeah,
Like, I liked that.
yeah.
Um, Rachel, I'm not like totally sold on her yet, but I think that she's like a solid presence, and like if she can like really kind of embrace the role a little bit more,
Mhm,
I'm like into what she's giving.
mhm.
But the one that's really taking it obviously is Danielle. Like, I think that
Obviously.
she's just like such a natural star, and like it's not put on at all. And from what I can observe, like I'm
She's
obsessed.
always been like that. Like, even if
Yeah.
you look at her true life, I'm a Staten Island girl, she was like this. She was
Did you
always
watch
like
the full
this.
episode?
I did when it was on, but I haven't in a long time.
Okay. I think we need to like maybe do a rewatch.
Yeah, because it's the clips that I've seen on Twitter and stuff, I'm like, "Okay, I'm kind of obsessed
Iconic.
with her." And I wasn't so so sure about her when I heard she was gonna be a housewife, because
Mm.
I looked at her Instagram and I was like, "Oh, no, like, here we go, like, the influencers are coming in to
Yeah,
Housewives."
totally.
But she's so bad at being an influencer and so good at being a housewife
I'm so
that I
confused by
love
those
it.
videos. I'm so confused by those
What the
videos.
fuck is she doing?
I don't
And that's the
understand.
thing. I'm like, your brother had every right to make fun of you, because if I was acting like that and I had a brother, he would probably be like, "You are embarrassing the family. Like, will you fucking stop?" So I feel like something else had to have happened.
Yeah, I don't there was a shift. Yeah, there was definitely, like
Like, it doesn't
and
add
also
up.
it's also the way that it's presented is, like, just eerily similar to what's going on with Teresa, Melissa, and Joe, and,
It's
like
identical.
and that to me is like, okay, that you're right, there is an extra element here that we're not being told because I think they want or she at least wants sort of the mirror image almost.
Mhm.
I totally agree with that, and I think the one thing that Danielle's gonna have to be careful with is, like, she has to she's clearly gonna be on Teresa's side of things, and she's clearly
Mhm.
gonna, like, defend Teresa, but she just has to be careful about, like, doing that to a fault and making sure that she still has connections to other women on
Yeah.
the cast, I think,
Don't,
and
like,
not just, like
isolate herself.
yeah, and not just like a Teresa soldier, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Teresa, like, needs some defenders, but, like, you have to be able to, like,
See,
not be as, like, blindly loyal, you know?
yeah, like, Dolores, I think, did a really good job of that,
Yes, I mean, she
navigating
always
that
does a good job of
role.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dolores is just
She's like,
like, I'm obsessed with her. I
I
love
wanna
her
be
so
her.
much.
Yeah.
She's so stunning.
And just like how, like, steadfast she is, like, like, it's
I
that's so
just
I think it's so admirable. Like,
It is.
ugh,
And, like, when I saw her in real life at BravoCon, like, shook my breath away.
no, she's
I was
stunning.
like, and she just, like, doesn't give a fuck. Like, she is so the New Jersey girls, I think, are the most, like, rooted in reality still. Like,
Yes, I think
their
so too.
Instagrams aren't as, like, put on. I mean, besides Danielle, but she's, like, always been kinda crazy like that. Um, they're, like, still going to, like, cheer competitions and, like, going to
Yeah,
baseball games. Like, they just are so chill, and I like you said, they're, like, in glam, but it's not really glam. It's like, I don't know, I just love them, and, like, I love
no.
this little charity baseball game.
I love the charity baseball game.
It was so
I think
fun.
it's a nice new staple event for us to have on this
Mhm.
franchise. Like, I think that that's something that Jersey sort of I think some of the other franchises have things you can always, like, depend on, and, like, we can depend on
Mhm.
the trips down the shore and, like, things like that, but, like, having another thing to, like, look forward to is nice on Jersey.
Yeah, and it doesn't take up a lot of time, it's, like, quick,
No,
it's fast-paced, drama ensues,
drama ensues.
like when Rachel okay, I'm dying to know your thoughts on this. When Rachel brought up to Jennifer what Olivia said, how she wants to be a couples therapist, when she goes, "I wanna be a therapist for couples." Love. I was like,
Love.
"Love." I was like, I'm obsessed with this little
Same.
girl, she's
Honestly,
so
same.
cute, and Jennifer was, like, really sad about that. And a part of me, like, understands why she was sad, 'cause probably has a lot to do with her and Bill,
Mhm.
but, like, at the same time, it's like, I don't want her to feel sad about that. Her daughter, like, wants to care for people and help people, and
Yeah, it's I'm curious because isn't that also, like, sort of the catalyst for why they, like, went back to therapy too, to, like
yeah, I loved their
I
therapist.
yeah, I know. I, yeah, that was, like, an interesting moment because I almost expected Jennifer to, like, get mad at Rachel for some reason. I don't know why I was
Me
expecting
too.
that.
No, I did too.
I thought she was gonna be like, "Why are you talking to my daughter?" Like, or, like,
Yeah.
something along those lines,
Yeah.
and, like, that was the reaction was very unexpected, and
Mhm.
I agree, she shouldn't necessarily discourage that. I think it's, like, it's an admirable, like, cute thing that she wants to do that,
Mhm. But there was a
but
layer of sadness there.
oh, there's definitely a a layer of
Yeah.
sadness there, and instead of it's almost like I don't know. That was a weird moment. That
It
was
was really weird, and, like, she brought that up in therapy, and even the therapist, like, was like, "Oh,
yeah, and it's one of those things where you almost,
okay."
like also another, like, thought that I had for, like, a second was like, "Oh, did she, like,
Mhm.
tell Olivia to, like, tell somebody that she wants to be a love therapist so that she can, like, go back to therapy
Right,
on
like,
the
as
show?"
a
Like, that now
reason.
that's sort of, like, another thought that went through my head. I don't think she did that, but
But you gotta keep your wits about you with these shows, Gibson. Like, you just
I
never
know.
know. I wouldn't put it past him.
I know.
I
That was
wouldn't put
all
it
yeah,
past
so
her.
that could have gone 3 different directions.
Do you think Melissa is going to be gone next year? Like, do you think they're, like, phasing her out? Or do you think she's, like, kind of slowly taking a step back?
What clues do you think are showing that? I'm curious.
I feel like we're not getting a lot of Melissa. I feel like she's really fucking exhausted by this Teresa relationship.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like she's really I think in the last few seasons, she's really been done with it. And she's
Mhm.
been also sick of taking the brunt of her husband Joe and Teresa's relationship. And I feel like
Yeah.
I don't know. Because I don't know how this show can move forward next season with the two of them if they're still like not
I
talking or
know,
like
I know. I
try
think
and I don't think Teresa's ever gonna go anywhere.
yeah, it's hard because I think if you're thinking about it from, like, a storytelling perspective,
Mhm.
there is no better out for Teresa to have. She
Mhm.
has her fairy tale wedding, she's marrying into this she has a new family to be a part of.
Mhm.
She has like, that's sort of like that's what Cynthia Bailey's send-off was, like,
Mhm.
that's a natural way to, like, evolve away from the show. I agree, I don't think she wants to do that, I don't think she is gonna do that, and I don't
I
think she
think there
should
will
do
be
that.
like an uproar
Yeah,
if Teresa
I don't think
ever
she I don't
left.
think she should do that. I just think when you think strictly from, like, a like, natural evolution perspective,
Mhm.
um, and I think you're right. I think Melissa, like, you're right. They haven't shown as much of her this season, and she's definitely exhausted by it, and I think that she's unfairly blamed for so much, and,
Mhm.
she gets the same accusations every single year of
Mhm.
being inauthentic. Every scene is about Teresa, yada, 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 like, no storyline. But it's like Teresa and Melissa individually and together are such valuable, like, assets for Bravo. Like, I
I
don't
agree.
like, they're, like, huge money makers. They're huge stars individually.
Mhm.
People feel passionately about both of them, and they
Mhm.
have for a long time. They probably both get paid a lot of money, and I agree, I can't imagine them continuing in the same stream, but I also can't imagine Bravo letting them go. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I think that it's a similar thing happening almost on Summer House, where it's like these people have become valuable stars to them with where
Mhm.
people are invested in them. But what happens? Does everyone get a Kim Zolciak spinoff? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
is
Like, is
everyone
it
Don't Be
but
Tardy? Like,
like
what
those
do
shows
they
are
what do
but
we
those
do?
shows aren't compelling. You know what I mean? Like, those
Right,
shows
no
aren't
one
that
watches
good.
them.
No, so it's sorta I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. And I
Yeah,
don't think they can coexist. I don't think they've been in the same room since, like, Watch What Happens
before
Live
the
at
wedding.
BravoCon,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
But still,
BravoCon,
like,
the
that doesn't even
panels had to
count.
be split.
Right, but, like, they were on that same stage for a little bit, but, like, totally
Yeah,
separated. So I don't know.
I guess we'll see at the reunion.
And I know that, like, Andy loves it, Melissa. I like Bravo because she's also down to, like, market the hell out of the show. She's down to, like
Oh,
they're
yeah.
both down to, like,
She'll,
do the
like
commercials and whatever, and it's just they're losing something valuable if they let one of them go,
I totally agree.
you know?
I don't know where it goes from here, but I'm excited for whenever we get the reunion. I think that will be really compelling
It's all
television.
I'm almost, like, scared for the reunion.
Oh, I'm
I'm like
terrified.
yeah,
I think Melissa's gonna come with a lot of
I
receipts.
think
A
so
lot
too.
of, like I mean, when she brought up I think she was on Bravo by Betches podcast with Dylan Hafer, Mention It All. I bel she was
We
like, "Isn't it
stand.
convenient that there was, like, a drawing, like a sketch of this alleged, like, table seating arrangement for an engagement party from a party planner?"
Mhm.
I was like, "So true," but,
So
Teresa
true, babe.
fans
So true, and what's interesting is, like we talked about earlier about Twitter and how we approach it, like,
Mhm,
Melissa doesn't really tweet, but,
mhm.
after almost every single episode, she's liking tweets,
I love
a
that.
and she likes very telling ones, I would say, so I've, like, been going
I gotta
back to
keep
her
an eye
likes.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been going to her likes because 'cause she'll like some of mine because I'm mostly on her side of
Yeah.
things, just,
You sway more Melissa.
yeah, I really do, and, I kind of, like I'm like, "Oh, like, I gotta check her likes," and then
Yeah.
so, yeah, it's interesting.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk Vanderpump Rules.
Mhm.
Now, Gibson, where were you the moment you found out about the scandal?
The moment I found out, I was playing
Yeah.
pickleball in Florida
Oh my god.
on a friend's 30th birthday trip, and thankfully, everyone I was with watches Bravo, and so one of my friends was like, "TMZ, reads the headline, Sandoval cheating on Ariana with Raquel, whatever. And like
Yeah.
the rest of the weekend was just the birthday weekend was about Vanderpump Rules. Like
It was the Sandoval birthday party.
Literally we started watching we watched the last 3 episodes of season 2. We watched every update was coming in.
Mhm.
So yeah, I was
It was a
surrounded by good
rush.
company. Where were you?
Good for you. Uh, I was about to lay my head down for a nap, a midday nap,
Oh, that nap didn't
and
happen, did it?
no, it sure didn't. I shot right up. My roommate called me. She was like, "You need to check your phone right now," and then hangs up. I checked my phone. I was like, when I first read it, I thought, "Oh my god, like, are they getting Schwartz and Sandoval confused? Like, maybe
Right,
maybe they
right.
just made out once? Like, what the fuck is happening?" And then James posted, and I was like, my eyes bugged out of my head. I couldn't believe my
I
eyes.
it's we always say like there's those days, that you'll never forget when you're a Bravo fan, but like this was
Mhm.
like extra like that. This was different. This was
This was
because
very different.
the details and the posts and the comments were all coming in like every 30 minutes, and it was
I
just
know,
like,
from them, from, like,
yeah,
Pump
from
Rules
them
people.
because
Katie posting clown emojis. They're
they know how to feed the
professionals,
beast. Yeah, they know how to feed the beast.
and we've been eating.
Oh,
I
we've
can't
been I'm
stop.
full. I'm
I'm
full. I
full.
like yeah, I'm gorging.
So, Andy Cohen this week said, "This episode this week was not re-edited. Keep an eye out for things, blah, blah, blah." Gibson, I've never been so intensely watching an episode of television in my entire life. Like,
I could tell from your tweets. You
I
were
was like
you were sat down for this, like, it was giving,
it was giving
like a
State of the
like a sport,
Union.
like a 100%, 100%, and you were
And, like,
analyzing.
I was analyzing, I was like, "What's going on here?" But I did have to laugh because at a certain point, people were, before the episode aired, they were like, "Keep an eye out, keep a close eye," and I'm like, "No, it's, like, pretty straightforward what's happening." They're quite literally being
Yep,
like,
it
"Raquel
was
likes
in
to
our
fuck
face.
people's boyfriends." Like, that is something they said. So, I need all of your thoughts on this week's episode.
Yeah. I just read Brian Moylan's Vulture recap, which
Oh
did
my
a really
god.
good job of sort of
Yeah.
like, because I knew it would feel some sort of way of like you have to analyze the show on 2 levels now. It's like what's
Mhm.
happening within the what would have happened if none of this was happening, and then what is happening and how you look at it now that the
Now
scandal has
right.
happened.
Yes.
And so like it's really crazy because the opinion that we would have had on what's happening on the show right now is the complete opposite of
I know.
what it is now. Like because it happened, because we
I
know that
know.
because
It's crazy.
she was being ganged up on. She was having a panic attack. She
She was
said
being a
something regrettable when
silly,
she was
goofy
drunk.
girl
Exactly.
with her lights.
Lala was coming on strong. Like it was all these things. But sorry, I
But
don't
at
feel
the end
bad
of
for
the
her.
day I know.
I don't feel bad for her.
I would catch myself. Like, I would be like, "Oh,
Mhm.
like, this poor girl," like, because Lala and Katie, and especially my queen ice queen, Christina Kelly, I'm obsessed with her. She's a triple Virgo, which explains so much about her personality.
What an
When they're
unexpected delight she's been.
a delight. We'll get
Yeah,
to
I
Charlie
didn't
because she was
yeah,
also a delight
okay.
for a different reason. She was absolutely crazy. I love her so much. I love her as, like, a peripheral, like, side character, like,
I think so
just
too.
kind of just, like, randomly, like, throwing jabs at people. I'm like, "Ooh, like, wasn't expecting that." Like, I caught a stray, like, that's how I felt. But watching them and Raquel's clearly wasted, like,
Mhm.
so drunk. She's eating the chicken on the Barefoot Dreams blanket in the hotel room. Then she makes the comment,
Not
like,
barefoot dreams.
yeah, she's like, looks at Lala and is like, "Well, thank God, like, you don't have a man to, like, steal." I I was, like, gagged. I was like, "Whoa,
So
whoa, 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 whoa."
I have a question. When she said that, so my read on it
Mhm,
was that, which was like, "Thank God you don't have a man so that, like, I don't take him," basically.
mhm.
But in Brian Williams' recap, he said that he read it just more as, like, her shading her for, like, just not having a man. Like, it just came out that way. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
yes.
and I read it initially
Like that,
not the way
like,
that he's
the
saying
how
it.
I said it.
Yeah. But, like, I don't know what the
Okay.
truth is. I don't know. But, like,
Yeah, we don't know the
I
truth.
but I'm choosing to believe the first way because I think it fits our narrative a little bit better.
Yeah, it fits. It's kind of like when Bethany looked at Dorinda and was like, "You're drunk." And it was like, "Are you drunk or, like, you're a drunk?" Like, w no one could really
Exactly.
tell.
Mm.
So that's kind of what this is, but, like, on a more, like, larger level.
And
And then,
a
like,
pretty, like
Raquel
yeah.
pretty direct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty direct. It was just really up to us to interpret. But then she goes to her room, she throws on her Northern Lights galaxy globe,
I was shook
and
by that.
I
That happened in, like, and that happened in, like, 2 minutes
3
too. She, like
seconds. She ran and plugged it in and was dancing around twirling. I was obsessed.
You know, it was
And
so funny though when she comes back and she's like, "She had the lights on and she had the music playing," and Lala goes, "Taylor Swift." Just assumed it was Taylor Swift music, and
yeah,
for
and
some
it's
reason, it, like, made me
probably
laugh
not wrong.
no, I know, but it just made me laugh so much. I thought that was such a funny throwaway moment.
It's so these people are just so fucking good at this show. Even Christina Kelly, who's been on a handful of times when she is on, she has such a presence. And, I felt sad for Raquel, like, overhearing these 3 girls, like, talking about her, making fun of her. Like, I felt sorry for her. And then I remembered that she had a 7-month-long affair with her really good friend's boyfriend, and I quickly was like, "Okay, obviously she's not a good person, and I don't need to feel bad for her." Then we get in the car, and she's having a panic attack, and she's talking about
Mm.
James. She starts talking about this escape plan that she had. She was like, "I was gonna leave, and I was gonna pack all my stuff, and I was gonna get out of there." And I was like, "Hmm,
Mm.
mm, red flag.
It's giving,
Something
like,
is not."
escaping in the middle of the night. It's
Uh,
dark.
it's so dark. I'm not gonna talk too much about that, but I do think that we
Me
should all
neither.
kind of take a note, recognize that, take that for what you will. Then she starts having like a panic attack, and people on Twitter are crazy. They're like, she was pretending, like she was faking.
Oh,
No,
please.
I think that was real. What was the catalyst of that was probably she's in a car with 3 girls who fucking hate her, who were talking about her the night before. She probably has anxiety from being so hungover. Like,
100%.
I don't think it had anything to do with Tom Sandoval in the moment.
I don't think so either. I think it was literally I mean, I felt that way of like, "What the fuck did I do last night? What did I
Yeah,
know you said something that pissed people off."
right.
That's a very relatable feeling. Like, I've never personally had a panic attack like that, but, like, that to me, she's not that good of an actress, you know what I mean?
No, and
Like,
if she is,
that
book her immediately.
but also remember we saw the moment with her and Peter on that date where she sort of broke down, and, like, to me, that felt like a little bit more put
She's cried
on,
every
I would say.
episode.
Right, but, like, though but some of the cries, there's a this cry was different.
This was, like, from
This was, like,
inside.
guttural. Yeah, exactly.
And I thought how the girls, like, really bandied around her and, like, were trying to calm her down was, like, so sweet and
Mhm.
really, really nice, and I was like, "Okay." And then, again, you remember that she was having a 7-month-long affair with her friend's boyfriend in their house, wearing disguises and lightning bolts, and you're like, "Okay, okay, like, snap out of it, bitch." Then
Mm-mm.
Charlie comes on the trip, and Charlie hates Christina Kelly, and I need to know
Why does she hate her?
why. No,
Why? I need to know
why?
why. And it was immediate right
It was
away. It was immediate
immediate.
right
She
away.
made fun of
Yep.
her lip balm right away. She was like, "I don't know why the fuck lip balm bitch is here." I'm like, "What?"
I need to
Okay.
know.
I need to
I
know.
think I hope it's kind of a law about for us for like, I think it's like a kind of preparing us for more maybe from that.
I hope so too because it seemed way random to me.
Yeah, I think we're getting more of that. In terms of, like, just
Good.
following up and explaining.
I hope so.
If not, I'm just gonna tweet Charlie because the stakes are
And
low and I
just be
wanna
like, "Girl,
know.
what's going on?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then, like, the dinner. So to me, the dinner,
Yeah.
I found to be fascinating.
Mm.
I never wanted this dinner to end because it was just like there was so much happening. Because, like you said, we're watching it in straight men could never do what we do. Okay. Can I
Ever.
just fucking say this?
Ever.
We're
Our
like talking
minds?
about our minds. We have to sit here and be like, okay, so we have to think about it in this context, but then we also have to think about it in this context. Like,
I believe in the corporate world, they call it parallel pathing, and we're sort of,
Oh,
there's two things happening at once, and I
parallel
agree.
pathing.
We're dividing our brains in two right now, and we're doing it for the rest of the season.
I'm exhausted.
And
I'm so tired.
to, today drained me, to quote Marlo
Today
Hampton.
drained me. Oh, today drained me. But Lala is like, I would never trust you around my man. First of all, whenever Lala starts talking like that,
I know.
Gibson, if a human being ever talked to me the way that Lala talked to Raquel, or how she's talked to Ariana in the past, how she kind of like puffs her chest up, acts all tough, I would literally start laughing. Like it makes me so embarrassed for her because it's like so all bark and no bite. And I'm just like, why are you talking like that? Why are
Yeah,
you
I
acting
actually,
like
yeah,
this?
I like Lala a lot, but I think
I
that
do too.
she gets like, she just gets so carried away with it, and I think that
Mhm.
she, as good of like a reality star as she is, I still think that she like needs to learn, like, again, sort of when to create the moment and not always creating the moment. And like
Mhm.
the pop off, the immediate pop off every time again just like doesn't,
It's the pop off.
it gets hollow at a certain point.
It
And it's
does.
condescending as well. It's condescending.
It's so condescending, and it's the pop off, but then the quick, like, shutdown of it. It's like, I'm allowed to act like this and talk to you like this, but the moment someone starts just simply responding, she's like, "We're done.
Hmm.
We're done. I'm disengaging." I'm like, "Okay, you need to chill the fuck out."
Right.
Like, you
It's also
can't
like,
do all of that and then
it's
not have a
also,
conversation.
she in that at that dinner, she was like, essentially, "Just don't call me a mistress because my I cheated with somebody 6 years ago. That's my past. That was before I was sober. I've changed. I've grown. I've become a mother." All of that is totally valid, and I
Mhm.
understand that from her perspective. But Raquel like just found out about this. Like she just found out. She just
Last
told
week.
Raquel last
Yeah.
week that her and James slept together when James was with Raquel. So like Raquel has not Raquel is very much in her power to be able to still be processing and coming to terms with that fact. You know what I
That,
mean?
and
Like I think
also there were so many moments probably in her relationship with James where she was, like, threatened by Lala and told how crazy it was and all of this, but for that to be true, so she's probably like, "Wait, what the fuck?"
her
Like,
world is rocked. Yeah.
her world literally was rocked few days ago. She's
Yep.
allowed to process that, and for Lala to just be like, "Well, that was 6 years ago." It's like, "Okay." And also, Lala, you were sleeping with a married guy.
Hmm.
That did happen.
Right.
You did go on TV and say you suck dick for Range Rovers. Like, these are things that you have
Iconic line.
said.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
so
and yeah, I think that like the issue is that like Raquel is like not a good enough TV presence star. She's not quick enough to
her
like
voice shaky.
to have said any of these things. It's like she just like kind of,
Mhm,
she becomes the Bambi-eyed bitch, and it's just like, it's,
mhm.
she can't defend herself.
No, and I listen, I don't think it's cool that she asked Schwartz to make out. I don't think it's
Definitely
cool. I
not.
think that was, like, really shitty. Was it amazing television? Has she
Of
maybe
course.
revitalized the franchise?
Listen,
Possibly.
listen.
Hard truths.
You can't always love the hero, you know?
No, and I do love a villain, but Raquel has kind of taken it to the next level, with
Yes.
her, situation with Sandoval. And, Katie, I think, handles it all really, really well, and there's moments where I bet she really misses having Stassi, like, on the show.
100%. 100%. I mean, her and Lala are like best friends on the show now, it seems,
Mhm.
but like sh- but
No
like
one's like her Stassi.
like Katie Stassi group, like they all used to like hold this information over Lala for so long, and now it's like
Mhm.
once they were off the show, Katie sort of had to bring Lala into the fold.
Yeah,
And you know I, that's not it. I think it's authentic now, but I think it wasn't initially super
I
authentic
agree.
for them to be really best friends. And I completely agree. She definitely misses Stassi because she's probably texting Stassi about it
Yeah.
under the
Like, "Can
table,
you
you
fucking
know?
believe what these people are saying?" And
Exactly.
then Charlie, was just a a good time girl on the trip. She
Drinking
was
her
like,
beer.
yeah, she was like, "Raquel, let's go get drunk. These bitches are fucking crazy and they're so mean." Like in the moment, Charlie did I think the right thing.
I agree with you.
But now, I mean, watching back, she's probably like, Jesus,
Yeah,
what
she
did I
she she
do?
tweeted something that she's, like, embarrassed, obviously, like, by watching
Mm.
that, but, like, she still stands by being, like, a girl's girl, and I totally that sentiment, I think, is really valid.
Yeah, and then, they leave because they said they're gonna go hang out with Schwartz and Sheena, and
Again,
I was like,
it's like,
"What?"
I get leaving, pull yourself
Yeah,
out of that situation, that house had dark energy in it,
sure,
but, like, then she has to leave and say, "We're gonna go hang out with them at the Mondrian," and it's like,
mhm.
"Okay," like, you just had to put that in there,
You
didn't you?
had to do it.
Yeah,
That's, like, the
exactly.
part with Raquel where I'm
After
like,
all that.
yeah, it's like, you're doing this on purpose now.
Yeah.
Like, there's a point where I'm, like, defending her a little bit, and then I'm like, "Okay, not so much."
Mhm.
I mean, when Tom Sandoval says Raquel and Charlie are coming, I screamed. How the fuck do you know that?
Who said that? Literally,
Who
who
said
told you that?
that? I don't even think
Who
Sheena
told you that,
knew.
Tom? Who told you that?
Who told her? Who told him? Raquel,
It's actually,
probably. Because
like,
this is when it all begins.
he
The
showed
night
his
that they
fucking
go out,
cards.
he did, and then, like, to leave Ariana so sad at home after her dog died to go to a guys' night, I'm like, "You're the fucking worst."
And
Ariana is having
Kristen said on Nick Vile's podcast
the
that
Vile
this was when it happened.
Files.
The Vile Files, that this is when it happened. This is when it started,
Oh my god. Oh my god. Like,
like, right around this time.
ugh, I
It's
think
sickening.
every week we're going to like it's gonna just be more and more and more.
No,
Like,
it's
I
gonna be it's giving event television. It's giving can't miss.
can't miss. This is like our Super Bowl every week.
And there's that one shot of Tom where he's, like, looking across at Raquel,
No, I know, smiling.
and then they're like, it's actually insane to me, like, now I'm getting riled up. It's actually insane they didn't re-edit this. It's the slow shot of him
Mhm,
looking at Raquel and Sheena with conspiring looks in slow
mhm.
motion, and it is and then we cut to black to be continued. And it's like, I'm sorry.
I
They
know.
couldn't have edited it better, you know?
No, it's perfect. It's perfect. Run them their Emmys now. Like, this is such amazing television, and, like, I
It gives me
Katie,
the
I think,
chills.
said on Watch What Happens Live last night, like, she's not surprised Tom had an affair, and she's not surprised it was with Raquel. So I'm like, "What the fuck else is gonna come out?"
I am, like, there are no words to explain how much I'm
No.
looking forward to the post-Scandal footage and confessionals, because that's and the reunion, obviously, but, like, in those confessionals, they're gonna say, 'cause they've hinted that they saw signs that they kind of
Mhm.
ignored, whatever. They're gonna tell us all of that, and they're they're kind of going scorched earth. They're going scorched earth on this, and, like,
Mhm.
they are not holding anything back, and
I know.
it gives me the
I
fucking
can't
chills.
wait. You have to come back for when
Oh my god.
post
The
post,
first post episode.
yes. Woo!
Yeah, I wonder
I'm
how
so
it's gonna
excited.
work. I wonder how many episodes it's gonna be. I wonder.
I don't know, how many episodes do you think we're getting this season?
I don't know. I feel like they've kind of switched it up on us with Pump Rules and
Yeah.
it's been shorter seasons, so maybe we'll go back
Mhm.
to normal length. And I really hope they move the reunion taping to, like,
I'm
literally
s
just 1 week.
This
Just 1
keeps me
week.
up at night. I'm like, "I need Raquel face to face with Ariana." Like, that is
Do
what
you
I
agree
need.
do you agree with some people who are saying that Sheena should just take one for the team and does not just skip out in the reunion so that Raquel can be there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though I love Sheena, I also don't under listen, I love Sheena. I think she's a great reality television star. I think her daughter is the cutest little baby on the planet. Those little bangs and the pigtails, adorable.
Mm.
Why the fuck is she so involved with Schwartz getting back
It's
out
really
there?
it's weird behavior. It's weird.
It's really, really
I
weird.
I kind of think that even though she's, like, such good friends with Ariana, I think that like from like a group perspective with the girls, I think that she feels like she just doesn't have a foothold with them anymore. So she kind of just had to go the opposite way. So like,
Yeah.
and she's like, Sheena is very like savvy, but in a very obvious way, you know,
Yeah.
like she
Yes.
like
Yes.
she doesn't, it's very transparent what she does a lot of the time, which is not a
Mhm.
criticism, honestly. I like love that about her. But I think that she knew that like it's kind of like a no-go zone with those girls sometimes, and
Mhm.
she's kind of over it.
Yeah.
I do
She's
think it's
back in
really
that
funny.
van in Mexico when she's like, "I would rather be gang banged by all of you
Right.
guys."
Yeah, she's like scarred. And I do think it's really interesting that they literally never show us Brock this season because they know everyone hated him last
Oh my
year.
god. He's
He's literally been on it for
nowhere.
like he's been on it for like 25 seconds, like
I know,
literally.
even at Schwartz's little party, he was like, "I gotta head out of here when the girls get here." I'm like, "What's
No.
going on with
That's
Brock?"
very wise. That was a very wise
So
production
smart.
decision. Yeah, very
So
wise.
smart. I loved
He was quickly gonna become the new Jackson. It was not. It
Yeah,
was not working.
I'm glad he's taken a step back. I did love him on Watch What Happens Live last year when he had a blowout.
Oh my god, yes.
He had, like, a full-on blow up from the dry
Yes.
bar. I was like,
Oh my god.
"Okay,
Dead.
Brock."
Okay,
Um,
Brock.
well, this was so much fun. Tell everybody where
So
they
much fun.
can find you and listen to you because they need to know your takes.
Yeah, so I'm Gibsonoma on all socials, Gibsonoma. My podcast is called We Should Talk. You can find it Spotify, Apple Podcasts. 1 to 2 episodes a week, 1 interview per episode, mostly with Bravo people. We just had one come out
You
with
do a lot of
Dolores
interviews.
today.
They're really
Yeah,
good.
it's all interviews. Dolores was today. Gabby from Summer House is next week. And then I have a newsletter. All the stuff's in my bio on social media. So just go find me.
Yeah, you are amazing. Thank you so much for doing this. I
So are
can't wait
you.
to have
This
you
is so
back.
much fun. You're the best.
Thank you.
And
Well, you guys,
I feel like we're the two of the same people. Like
yeah,
we need each
like, we
other.
get it. We see each
Yeah.
other, you know?
Uh-huh.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.